Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada, also known as the Garden City. We have lots and lots of beautiful flowers, and spring is on its way, and we've got lots of cherry blossoms in Victoria, as the Japanese call it, the sakura. Welcome Fuang. Hi Natty. Good to see our members joining in. Welcome Alexi. Hi Chen. Nice to see our moderators. Students, this is a members chat class. So if you'd like to join the chat, you need to become a member by choosing the right membership tier for you and clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. In this class, we are looking at IELTS speaking part 2 about a fashionable person. And this part 2 today and part 3 was actually requested by Chayani. Chayani's had this question in a past IELTS exam, so it's a good one to go over. Welcome, Josie. Hi, Domenico. So this was an actual question, or very similar to an actual question in a previous IELTS exam not too long ago. So stay tuned for a Band 9 response and some practice for this speaking part 2 about a fashionable person that you know. And as we learned yesterday in the reading, it can also be called a stylish person, right, Domenico? The stylus behind the ear, making the person very stylish. All right, students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live lessons. We use the materials, the practice exams, the speaking interface from these websites. So if you enjoy these live classes, go to aehelp.com. Click on the big red button that's just right above my head there. Spend a couple of dollars to get access for lifetime. It's a one-time payment, so it's well worth it. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified British Council agent and hold a degree in psychology, so you're in good hands. Students, when you're checking out, we've got a new code for you today. You can use the code TRIP4U to get a 10% discount that's coming from the video that we just released a couple of hours ago on YouTube. Let me just jump to that real quick. So we've got a new video for you on YouTube. It's a speaking practice video. So when you have a minute, check it out. Use the subtitles. It's like a karaoke, but you're not singing, you're just speaking nice and fluently. If you want to try singing it, sure, might be an interesting practice exercise. But anyway, use the subtitles to follow with the pacing of a natural native English speaker. Ain't that the truth, as they say sometimes after a sneeze. So definitely check out that video, and also visit us on Instagram, IELTS_AEhelp, GIELTS help for vocabulary schedules. Yeah, Gopu, I'm totally fine. That was just a sneeze of the early morning. Fuang says, yes, sir, I've checked this video. Fuang, did you like it? I hope you liked it. It was about a delayed trip for part 2 in that one. So I hope you enjoyed it. Students, if you have a question about IELTS, about the speaking, about English, grammar, whatever your question may be, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Either one of those will work. That's right, Fong. I'm in an orange shirt in that one. Yes, I really like that shirt. It's a very comfortable linen shirt. It's a good one to keep in mind, Fong, for today's topic about a fashionable person, right? Somebody's fashionable. They're wearing linen shirts that are orange in color. Fashionable? Maybe. All right, students, April 1st to April 7th, our streaming schedule coming up. right now. It's a bit tricky because we had daylight savings a couple of weeks ago, and it takes a while for the world to adjust their clocks to these daylight savings hours. So we've got the 2 classes right now. We've got speaking part 2 right now and speaking part 3 after. By the way, that speaking part 3 class will be for everybody, so everybody can join the chat. And then we've got our usual break from Sunday to Wednesday, so no classes 2nd to the 4th. And then I'm back on the 5th with speaking part 1, and then next week we'll look at some task 2 reading and more speaking. So lots more to go for next week. I will be posting that schedule on our YouTube community posts and the Instagram profiles as well. So check that out. All right, IELTS speaking part 2. So again, like I said, this was a cue card. We'll get right into it. So this was a cue card that was in a past IELTS exam, and so it's a good one to practice. And the first step is, of course, to just look at the cue card and read it carefully. Not rush. Don't rush. Take your time. Make sure it's clear. You have to present on the correct topic here, so don't rush through it. Okay, here we go. So IELTS speaking part 2. So this comes after about 5 minutes, 6 minutes in the speaking interview. You're sitting with an examiner who is kind of like me. They could be speaking Canadian English, American English, Australian, British, New Zealand English, depending on where you are, Indian English if you're in India. And they will say that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. Do not touch the question booklet. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers. You can take notes in this 1 minute time if you wish. And then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Talk about a person you know who dresses well. Okay. All right, great. So who is this person? What kinds of clothes this person likes to wear? How you know this person, and explain why you think this person dresses well. Okay, now to get good marks on speaking part 2, you have to answer all of these questions. Okay, and ideally you're creating a good story. That's the goal here. So you need to create a good story. Now, let's start with a couple of tips, okay? So when you're in part 2 and you've read the cue card, all right, first of all, you need to identify what you're talking about, okay? So in the IELTS, generally speaking, you will be talking about either a person, a place, an object, an idea, or an event, okay? So those are the possibilities: person, place, object, idea, or event. And you have to really quickly figure out what you're actually talking about. Members, in this case, what are we talking about? So talk about a person you know who dresses well. What are we talking about? Alexi says a person. Amra says a person. And yeah, at first glance, that's what seems to be the case, right? So in this case, so dresses well, right? Seems to be a person. And here it's a little bit tricky because it's a person and, so it's a person and what? Or who, I should say. So it's a person and, sometimes it's not just one category. So sometimes you have situations where it's a bit of a mix, especially when you're talking about an event. Very good, Alexi. Alexi very quickly says, and objects. Yes. Okay. Now, here's the magic. Doo-doo-doo. That was the weirdest magic sound ever, but anyway, I don't know, abracadabra. So person and objects, right? Here's the magic. When you have a cue card that kind of looks at two of these categories, it's actually really good because you can talk a lot, okay? So when you realize that you've got two categories, what you have to really pay attention to is not to overspeak and not to get really confusing, okay? So when you realize that the cue card is a combination of categories, like in this case, i.e. person and object, it's important to not overspeak and get confusing. Okay? So, because obviously here you're going to talk about the person and you're going to talk about their clothes. So you're going to talk about the two, right? You're going to talk about the person, talk about their clothes. So you have to maintain your structure. Okay? All right. So clear. Okay, now when we're talking about a person, we have to talk about their appearance. And here, obviously the appearance, because we're talking about a person who dresses well, right? So we talk about their appearance. We talk about their personality. And we talk about personality backed by actions. So what they actually do. Okay, one common mistake that leads to lower scores on your IELTS when you talk about people is talking too much about personality and not talking enough about actions. So people will say, oh, I have this very good friend who dresses well. They're so kind and helpful and they're really, really smart and they're always happy. I think that they're always smiling every time that I see them and they're super hardworking. And then candidates tend to just kind of list these personality traits like hardworking, smart, kind, respectful. And at the end of it, it's like, okay, we have this mystery kind of stick man who seems to have all these awesome personality traits like kind and hardworking. And really, when you're finished, for your listener, they just see this kind of amazing stick man that doesn't really mean much. They could be anybody. Okay? So you don't want to have that situation. That's not great communication. Okay? That's kind of just a template, generic, I don't want to say useless, but almost useless type of discussion. Okay? So you really, really have to focus on this part of the actions, right? So if, you say that you have a friend who dresses well and they're very creative, they go to a secondhand store, buy old clothes, and then redesign them to be very fashionable. That would be high band score. That'd be like, oh, okay, you just told me that your friend goes to a secondhand store, gets used clothing, and then sews and stitches and redesigns those clothes to make them really modern looking and fashionable, very creative. Okay, so that's creative. Just saying my friend is creative is like what, right? Like, what do you mean they're creative? Okay, is that clear, everybody? So personality action. And I know some of you have heard me say this a dozen times before, but it's unfortunately one of those situations where students hear it a lot and they still forget it. They still just list off the personalities. They're friendly, they're hardworking, they're creative, they're smart. It's like, okay, like what? Right? So Amra says yes, so Lexi says yes, Fwang says yes. So you should always be thinking personality action, right? Okay, all right. Good. I think I've driven that point home for everybody. And so the next component in this one, right, is the object. So when we're talking about objects, we talk about their origin, right? Where do they come from, right? Like I just said, my friend goes to a secondhand store, so the object comes from the secondhand store, right? We talk about the appearance. in this case as well. So what does the object look like? And in this case, it makes a lot of sense because it's a fashionable or well-dressed person, right? So origin, the appearance, the function. So what is it used for, right? Or how do you use it, right? Utility, where is it used? Okay, where do we apply the use of this object? And the opinion. And then here, of course, talking about fashion, that all makes sense. So in this case, if you think about a friend and you think about some of their clothes and you include all of these points, appearance, personality, action, and then you talk about their clothing and you talk about the origin, appearance, function, you will do absolutely great. Okay? As long as you're connecting really well. Now, students, this is speaking, so make sure to speak, repeat, copy what I say when I say it. Okay? All right. And Alexi says this could be a lot of different types of clothes, like shoes, hat, maybe, some jewelry. Absolutely, Alexi. All of those are great ideas. Okay, now, when you are doing part 2, when you're responding to the cue card, you need to think about some key vocabulary, okay? And here, obviously, you're looking at dress as well. And within dress as well, you're looking at clothes, okay? So dress as well and clothes. Okay, so we need to paraphrase these words in your part 2 response to get that higher band score. Okay, so you need to paraphrase these key words, these topic words for high band scores. Okay. Okay. What's another? So I said another way to say dress as well is saying fashionable. Give me some other words. Very good. Alexi says you can also say well-dressed. Yes, and we use that commonly. Well-dressed. So fashionable, well-dressed. Dylan says stylish. Let's not forget about that one. Yes. Okay. Fuang says it's a fashionista. That's quite a modern way to say it, but sure, you can do it. Okay. What else? Dresses nicely. Yeah. There's an expression. There's idioms. English is full of idioms. Of course, there's an idiom for well-dressed person as well. So you can say dressed or dressed, dresses. You can say too, dressed to kill. That's a weird one, right? But it means dressed really nicely, just in a very sexy kind of way. So dressed to kill. Don't ask me where that comes from, but but that's one way to say it. Okay, so dressed to kill. So whenever she goes to a party, she's dressed to kill. And that will immediately mean for the listener that she dresses in a very beautiful and sexy way. Dressed to kill. Or dressed to impress. Exactly. Yes, very nice. Okay, Amra says, I've got it. Okay, so you want to switch those up during your speaking. So when you're talking about that well-dressed person, you definitely want to switch up these different ways, okay? Clothes. What's another way to say clothes? Clothing, of course, different word form, right? So clothes, clothing, garments. Yes, very good, Gopu. Garments. And garments, often when we use the word garments, it actually refers to quality clothing. So it does actually just mean clothing in general. However, in modern English, when we say garments, we often kind of feel that they're quality clothes. Outfit. Very good. Yes. Costume, British English, yes, you can, absolutely. In American English, costume is a little bit strange. It means it's like for dressing for like Halloween or something like that. But in British English, they use costume to replace the word clothing. Yes, attire, Chen, very good. Okay, nice. Good job, everybody. So, in that 1 minute preparation time, when you're looking at this cue card, in a perfect world, you've thought about all of this information. Okay? So you've realized, okay, person, object, dresses well, all these synonyms, clothes. For clothes, of course, I'm thinking about descriptive paraphrasing as well, as Alexi started listing, like shoes, hats, blouses, pants, trousers, etc. So all the words, all the different types of clothing, right? That can come into the picture in this case. Wardrobe, Mal, is a good one. Wardrobe is all of the clothing together, right? It's like the garments, the wardrobe. Yes, very good. Okay, and then I think about, a couple of people. Now, we can think of a few people here. Okay, so you can think of course, your sister, your brother, your friend, your bestie, your BFF. Okay, so your teacher, your colleague. Okay, so the person here doesn't really matter. And of course here, one of the big separations that you would think of is either a man or woman, right? So it's either going to be a male or female. Now in this case, if I were to respond to this question, I would probably pick a woman. And that's not to say that men cannot dress well. However, women just seem to have a lot more availability in fashion. So a lot of different types of clothing, a lot more description for the clothing, a lot more colorful clothing, generally speaking. Men dress well, but men tend to have a kind of a smaller variety of fashionable clothes, right? So Amra says, yeah, more content, absolutely. So I would pick a woman because a woman in this case definitely, in my opinion, is a little bit simpler. Even if, you're like, well, there's gender binary and non-gender and there's so many mixes here and I want to be really... No, girls, guys, IELTS, not the place to explore the modern world of LGBTQ plus 2. Not the place to get into that. You could. I'm not saying don't do it. You could, but if we're testing language, that could really get you into a much more challenging language aspect. And you might express your true opinion, but at the end of the day, the examiner won't care too much. They just care about your English. And if you get yourself into a tough situation talking about a man or talking about a gender binary person that dresses in many different ways, both with male and female clothing, you're just going to be in a tough spot. Okay, so I would just go with a female friend or acquaintance that you know who dresses well. Okay, so I'm gonna go with just a simple sister dresses well. Okay. Well-dressed sister Maria. I don't actually have two brothers. I don't have a sister. But here I'm going to imagine that I had one. I wish I would have had one growing up. Unfortunately, I didn't. I had two brothers. I love my two brothers. But let's say I had a well-dressed sister Maria. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with here for my example. Now, for your example, when you have a chance to speak, you can go with whatever you want, okay? So now I need some notes. Okay, so I've thought about all of these ideas. They've gone through my head very quickly. Of course, I practiced all of this information before the IELTS. So in the 1 minute, all of this, okay, so all of this content, after looking at the question, all of this content, this should only take me about 15-20 seconds at most. Okay, I shouldn't have to spend more than 20 seconds realizing for this cue card that it's a person, it's an object. Think of at least, 3, 4, 5 of these important words that are paraphrasing, and then think, okay, well, here I'm going to keep it just straight and simple. I'm going to talk about a woman that I know. Let's make it my sister Maria, right? Who is well dressed, okay? We know about fashion. It's a part of daily life. We see it in media, in social media. We see it on TV. So we can just kind of make this up, right? If need be. If not, hey, whatever, right? Mal, you can't talk about a movie star. Notice the question. So that was good. Never forget the cue card, Mal. Notice the question here. So talk about a person you know who dresses well. Really pay attention to this part, okay? If you talk about a movie star, they're going to be like, you don't really know that person. Like, yes, you've seen them in film, but you don't actually know them, right? So be really careful. And you notice how here it says how you know this person. When you get to that question in the cue card, you're going to be like, uh-oh, was I talking about Rihanna for the last little bit? Well, I met Rihanna at a big birthday party in Hollywood a couple of years ago. Sure you did. Sure. Hey, if you can make it work, good, but I would say don't do it, okay? All right. Mal says, even if I know the person, well, like I said, Mal, if you know the person personally, yes, but you got to make sure that you can make that believable, okay? It doesn't come across as some kind of a rehearsed, practiced kind of approach, okay? All right, so you've spent 20 seconds on this, and you're going to, take some notes, right? Okay, so first of all, how should we do this? So what do you think? What should we take? So if I'm doing this well, and I've practiced for this IELTS exam and for this cue card, I'm ready. What should I write about for my notes? How should I do this? Okay. I don't want to just give you the fish. I want to teach you to fish. So I want you to tell me, what should I write in my notes? What should be the first thought in my head as I'm like, okay, now it's notes time. I got to do this and this and this for the next 40 seconds in this 1 minute preparation time. Okay, Alexi says, make sure you have completed every point. What do you mean, Alexi? I think you're on the right track. Dylan says, the kinds of clothes we were planning to mention. No, Dylan, not quite. Frost says 5W1H. No, not the what, when, where, why, who. That's not. No, Chen. I think that's a bad. You can think about that, but I think that's a bad approach. So that's always a good idea, students, to consider the W questions like what, when, where, why, who. But it's not a good way to think about it. There's a better way, Chen. There's Frost Chen, of course, not the moderator Chen. Yes, so Fuang says, describe, Amra's giving us the notes. Fuang says, the appearance of the person first. Absolutely. So the appearance, so person's appearance. Okay, now don't write that in the notes, just write A, right? So all you need to do is write A. Why is it a good idea? So why is it a good idea to talk about the appearance of the person first? So if I say, a very fashionable person whom I have known all my life is my sister Maria, right? Okay, so why does it make sense to introduce my sister and the way that she looks first? Frost says because we can visualize it. Also because, yes, Frost Chen, absolutely, we can visualize it. And also because the human is the foundation for the fashion, right? So it's like, does anybody know, before I give you this word, does anybody know the doll, the doll that is used for clothing, like in shops? What do we call that? Anybody know? So you know how when you go to stores and you're buying clothes, there's those plastic dolls with the hats, and there's a lot of interesting variations of them these days. Yeah, Dylan, very good. It's a mannequin. It's called a mannequin. Okay. So here, in a strange way, the person, in a sense, is the mannequin, right? It's what you put the clothes on. Okay. So if I'm telling a stranger, in this case the examiner, about a fashionable person who I know, it makes sense to start with the mannequin, right? The unique mannequin, in this case the person themselves, right? So the appearance, so maybe she's, let's make her into a model. She's tall and slender, so she's, let's say 178 cm. Let's say she's about I don't know, let's make her 65 kilos or 60 kilos. Let's make her slender, long legs. And this will make her a good foundation for all the clothing, right? Long, wavy hair, brown, blue eyes. Okay? So my beautiful sister Maria, sure. Okay, now let's talk about personality. Okay, now when you think about personality, everybody, so in this case, again, don't write down personality. You want to be quick when you're taking notes, so just write down the letter P, okay? And then you can immediately write down the letter A. So it's almost like a math formula here, right? So if I were to write this down in notation form, right, it would be like A, then P plus AC, to not confuse it with appearance, right? So like that, okay? So when you're thinking about personality, right, of course, so here you're talking about a person, you're going to talk about their personality. Make sure the personality is related to the topic. So don't talk about how your sister is kind. I mean, that's nice, but it's not really an important part of being fashionable, okay? So think about personality traits that are related, okay? So what are personality traits? Okay, she's clever. Yeah, sure. So clever could be clever. Okay, she follows fashion trends and social media. So she's clever, she's well informed, she follows fashion trends and social media. Okay, Fuang, creative, exactly as I said, right? Creative. Turns old clothing into modern fashion. Okay, all right, good. Yeah, so, and you don't have to overdo it. If you've got 2 or 3 personality traits backed by action, especially when you have these 2 categories of person and object, you don't have to have too much for each of these. Just a couple of points for each one is very good. Mal says innovative. Yeah, innovative would be good as well. Okay, so you can think about it that way. All right, so now we go on to the object. Okay. Or in this case, objects as well, right? So maybe not just one piece of clothing, but I would definitely pick 1 or 2 pieces of clothing that can really emphasize her fashion style, right? So objects, origin. So here, if I'm continuing with my formula, right, then now I would be the origin of the object, right? Like that. And then the appearance, and then the function, the way it's used, the utility, and my opinion. Okay, so that would be the formula that I would lay out for these notes. Does everybody understand what I mean by the formula for the notes? Okay, if not, we're going through them step by step, but you kind of get the idea, right? Okay, Domenico says, yes, I've got it. Okay, I've got the formula here. All right, Natty says yes. All right, so that would be my formula. And again, if you practice before your IELTS exam and you know these formulas, then when you get to that 1 minute preparation time, you can outline it quite quickly, okay? All right, so objects. I wouldn't just say shoes, I would say high heels. Okay. High heels are those women's shoes that are like this. Okay, those would be high heels, all right, where you have a high heel. Okay, if they're really sharp, they would be called stilettos. All right, so high heels. Yes, thank you, Chayani. High heels, there, with 2 E's. Yes, Chayani, you are correct. Okay, Alexi, there's a reason they say math is the universal language. Absolutely. So high heels, evening dress. Red evening dress. Okay, so I might choose a couple of objects like this. Okay, and then the appearance. Bright, long, unique. Okay. V-neck. Sure. So whatever comes to mind. Okay. And again, here we're just doing something like AP. Okay. For that, since we have A before. And objects are just doing O. Or sorry, not object, origin. Right? Okay, and then function, maybe for special events, parties. Night out on the town, okay. Okay, and then the experience, right? So again, we're always focusing on the topic. So it's a person who is dressed well. So how do we know that our sister is dressed well? So what kind of experience would would emphasize that she is dressed well? Chen says, I used the shortcuts that Adrian just mentioned in my real test and it was really time-saving and effective. Chen, thank you for that feedback. That's very valuable. It helps everybody who's watching and members know that, yeah, okay, that works well, okay? All right, I love all the different concepts coming in. So Josie says pants with a big hole. Alexi says plain Arctic dress. Yes, those jeans with huge holes seems to be all the rave in many places today. Okay, and what kind of experience would prove that she dresses well? And it's an interesting question, right? Because that's very objective, but, you know, be liberal. How could we prove to the listener that we have a well-dressed, very fashionable sister when we go out to... Okay, friends' opinions. Good, Alexi. That's what I'm looking for. So friends and family opinion. Okay, now be visual, everybody. So be creative here. Yes, so Natty says everyone is looking at the person. Natty, when we're looking at a person in English like this, how do we say that? Fat Manure, very good. Fat Manure says a lot of Instagram followers. Yes, that's often a good measure of dressing well, right? IG or Instagram followers. That's a good one. I like that, Fatmanur. That's creative. Okay, not stunning, Natty, but staring. And there's even a more interesting word, like when guys are looking at girls and they're like, and they're kind of drooling, we say gawking. The guys are gawking at the girl, okay? And I don't even know how to spell that. Gawking? It's maybe like that. One of you will have to look that up for me. But it's gawking. Maybe like this? Gawking? I don't know the spelling on that one. You'll have to find it. It's a tricky word. Gawking. Okay, so they're gawking at the girl. Somebody can Google that for me, Chen or Lexi. Oh, there it is. Dylan, thank you. So Dylan says it's gawking with an A-W. Thank you. Yes, gawking. Okay, that makes sense. Gaw, G-A-W. Thank you, Natty. Gawking. So they're gawking at the girl. Very good. And when girls go to a party or a pub or a dance club and they look really good and there's a lot of guys around them, what else happens? So how do we know that they're dressed well? Free drinks, right? So all the guys are buying her free drinks. They think she's very pretty in her stunning clothes. Okay, good. All right, so you've got more than enough information with these ideas in this visualization to cover a 1 to 2 minute speech, okay? Yeah, and Fatmanur, people asking where she got the dress from. Absolutely, Fatmanur, very clever, okay? Chen's in love with my imaginary sister. That's funny, Chen. All right. She's fictitious. She doesn't exist. But I wish I had a sister. Okay, so now keep in mind that we need that first sentence, right? Before we get going with our response. So very important step, very important tip, everybody. Okay, get your first sentence ready. Okay, and I believe I've already done that in my case. Did I not write that sentence down? I think I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that was just in my head. Anyway, I'll write it down again. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, it's just at the bottom. Okay. So there's my first sentence. Okay. A very fashionable person whom I have known all my life is my younger sister, Maria. And then I just go through my notes. So I have all of that structure in front of me. I just go through my notes. So she is 24 years old, 172 centimeters tall, slender, with long, wavy brown hair, blue eyes, much like a supermodel or mannequin. Okay. So a lot of clothing looks really great on her. And not only is she really pretty, but she is also very well dressed. Okay. All right. So members, I kind of started the response here, and I'm going through those steps, right? So the appearance, what she wears, and so forth. Go with me. So write these sentences with me. Use your connective words like not only but also, both and, whether or, furthermore, in addition, okay, afterwards, and so forth. So use all of these connective words and start creating these sentences. Start putting together these ideas and these visualizations. Express yourself. Use those synonyms that I showed you earlier. So we've got the words fashionable, well-dressed, stylish, fashionista, dressed to kill, dressed to impress, clothing, garments, outfit, costume, attire, and of course, don't forget about the cue card. So, who is this person? What kind of clothes this person likes to wear? How you know this person, and explain why you think this person dresses well. Okay? So start putting them together. I'm going to do the same, but I'd love to be able to take some of the sentences that you're writing as well and just kind of fit them in like a puzzle, right? So when you have good ideas and when you have the equation, right, as Alexi says, the mathematical equation for communication, and you can just fit it together. You can go this plus this plus this plus this equals this, and you are communicating well. Those pluses, those minuses, those are your connective words. Those are your furthermore, in addition, and, or. So those are your connective words, right? Alaunus says, in March 12th, this question came to me. Yes, Alaunus, we know because Chayani asked for this question. She said this question was on her exam. So, and Alaunus says, and I went off topic because I didn't have much words. Well, Alaunus, you are in the right place. We are here to help you on your IELTS exam. Okay, so put your sentences together. Amra, you should always answer that question, how you know your sister. So you've known your sister your whole life. You've spent lots of time together. You grew up together in the same house. You meet with your sister at least a couple times a week to check up, see how life is going. And sometimes you go out to a pub or a club for some dancing and some drinks. And that's when, you know, she's dressed to kill, right? So you want to put that together, Amra. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep going here while you go, and then we'll start matching it up, okay? Domenico says, when I was a high school student, he was memorable because of his striking resemblance to a popular Italian action comedy actor, not only for his thick mustache, but also his sense of fashion. Okay, Domenico, that is a very different person. I'm going to stick with my sister for the example, but it's good that you're thinking about your response for part 2. Okay. All right. Alexi says, one of the most stylish people whom I know is my older sister. She's 24 years old, 164 centimeters tall, with long black hair and about 75 kilograms. Very good, Alexi. Set that foundation. Okay. All right. My sister is very attentive. She always takes an hour in the morning to get ready and dress for the day. She puts on a bit of makeup to highlight her attractive features, like her big, beautiful eyes, and then decides the best clothes for the occasion. Okay. We met up last week on Friday to go out for a couple of drinks and catch up on life. She showed up to my place dressed to kill in a pair of red high heel shoes and a long purple evening gown. Okay? So I'm visualizing this, visualizing her, visualizing the situation, visualizing the clothing, right? And I'm going through those steps of my notes. So the appearance, the origin. When I asked her where she had bought such a beautiful dress, she smiled and responded, at a local second-hand shop, and then continued to explain that she had made alterations using her sewing machine. Not only is she very creative in such ways, ever since we have, or ever since she has been a teenager, but she is also very good with shopping for clothes. Okay? All right. So I'm just kind of flying along here, right? Spinning these thoughts through my head. Although I may be a bit biased because I'm her brother and I love her very much, I can say that my opinion was supported by several gentlemen at the club we visited, as she was getting free drinks all night, and a couple of guys asked for her phone number. Without a doubt, my sister is very well dressed and presents herself in a modern and elegant way. It is no wonder that she has 50,000 Instagram followers. Okay? All right. Good. Now I'm seeing some text come up. Chayani says, a person that I know who is a fashion enthusiast is my best friend, Destin. She's 20 years old, 160 centimeters tall, with long peppered hair that makes her look like a model. Chayani, that is awesome language right there. Okay, let me put a couple of these sentences up on the board here. Okay, so this one's by Chayani. It's a really good one. Okay, I like it, Chayani. Fatmanur says, the most stylish person who I met is my best friend, Zainab. She is 25, 175 centimeters, and skinny. She has dark eyes and light skin, which makes her shine every time. Fatmanur, that's really good. Okay, see? So when we know what we're doing, we can come up with some really good sentences. And these are certainly some very, very good sentences. I like them. They're nice, okay? As long as you say these, Chayani, Fatmanur, fluently. Yeah, I love this too. Look at this is Fatmanur's continuation. I like it. We call her Miss Wardrobe since she loves buying a lot of clothes and creating good outfits. It's awesome, Fatmanur. That's some really good language. Okay. It's original. It's great. Artie has this to say. Well, I have been observing plethora of individuals all my life who is well dressed, but today I would like to talk about none other than my childhood friend Vashali Chahun. Artie, don't start like that. It's a template. It sounds rehearsed. Too many IELTS students do this. It doesn't get a good score, okay? Please don't say, I have been observing a plethora of individuals. It's actually awkward English to begin with. And it's also template. So no, not like that, okay? And not I would like to talk about. Just talk about the person, okay? So, Artie, your response actually starts here. My childhood friend Vashali Chauhan is a very well-dressed person. That's where you should start. Okay, Artie? Do you understand? So even though, unfortunately, there's some people out there who say you should start like that, they don't know what they're doing. They're talking about templates or what they heard from other IELTS programs or videos that don't know what they're talking about. You have to just focus on good communication. In good communication, when somebody asks us to talk about a person we know who dresses well, we don't talk about everybody we have seen who dresses well. And we don't tell them that we would like to talk about this person. We just talk about the person. Okay? It's very important. All right? Nadi has this to start. A person that I know who is very fashionable is my cousin Noah. She is 30 years old, 180 centimeters, long curly brunette hair, and really slim. Yeah, she is a brunette. Brunette is okay. It's the French variant of brown, right? Brunette hair. We use it in English. We say she is a brunette. It's a good start. Okay, just watch that. Who is? Okay. Alexi's going to continue Nadi's start here. Every morning she spends up to 1 hour to prepare herself, not for a following day, but for the day ahead. Alexi. Following day would mean tomorrow. Okay, careful with that, everybody. Following day usually means tomorrow. Following day means the next day or tomorrow. Okay? It's confusing. Be careful with that one. Right? So, unless we imagine her going to bed with her clothes on and makeup, which women never do. Furthermore, her weekends are always dedicated to a visit at a shopping center to buy new clothes. So furthermore, her weekends are, I wouldn't say always, but maybe often, dedicated to visiting. We would use the gerund here, visiting a shopping center and buying some new clothes, because it happens continuously. Okay. All right. You're all just flying along now. Let's take a sentence from Gopu. I love how our new members are joining in on the fun. That's great, everybody. Okay, good job. All right. So I personally think that there are lots of people who are very good when it comes to fashion, especially actors, models. No, Gopu, no. Artie, no. This is terrible information, and it's spread like a plague on the internet, and I think especially a lot of it in India, where it's like, talk about general and then focus on the card. No. Okay, for high band scores, band 7, 8, 9, be specific, especially when you have so much content, right? You're talking about the person and you're talking about their fashion sense. You've got way enough content for 1 to 2 minutes. You don't need to start general, like there are lots of fashionable people in the world. It's kind of like, yeah, I didn't ask you about that. I asked you about this. Okay, so the question, right? talk about a person you know who dresses well. I didn't ask you about talk about people in society who dress well. That's a different question, different answer. So Gopu, no. Artie, no. Okay? If you want to get a higher band score on your next IELTS exam, don't start general like that, okay? Absolutely, Gopu. Not we can directly go into the answer. You should directly go into the answer. That's what the examiners appreciate. They're like, oh, okay, here's a person who read the card and they're answering the questions directly in a structured way, right? Okay, so directly. Very important. And I know, Gopu and Artie, that you're a little bit newer, so that's why I'm repeating this information again and again. I really wish that there wasn't so much misinformation about IELTS on the internet. Unfortunately, there is. So for viewers out there, be very careful. There's a lot of bad information about IELTS because a lot of people have no idea what they're talking about. They're just copying information. Okay. All right. In these classes, in your materials online on the website, we're focusing always on actual communication, on answering the actual questions. Okay. Yeah, so Chen says not only in India, but all over South Asian countries, there's a lot of false info flowing here with tutors as well. Yeah, absolutely. It's just people picking up bad information. Okay, students, here we go. This is the response. Let's go over the response and then we'll take some volunteers, okay? Now copy, so speak and repeat, okay? Speak and repeat. Speak and repeat. Always question the logic of information, students, the logic. Why does it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense, okay? So here's the cue card. Talk about a person who you know that dresses well. Okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. A very fashionable person whom I have known all my life is my younger sister, Maria. She is 24 years old, 172 centimeters tall, slender, with long, wavy brown hair, blue eyes, much like a supermodel or a mannequin. So a lot of clothing looks really great on her. And not only is she really pretty, but she is also very well dressed. My sister is very attractive. She always takes an hour in the morning to get ready and dress for the day. She puts on a bit of makeup to highlight her attractive features like her big, beautiful eyes, and then decides on the best clothes for the occasion. We met up last week, Friday, to go out for a couple of drinks and catch up on life. She showed up to my place dressed to kill in a pair of red high heel shoes and a long purple evening gown. When I asked her where she had bought such a beautiful dress, she smiled and responded, at a local second-hand shop. And then continued to explain that she had made alterations using her sewing machine. Not only is she very creative in such ways ever since she has been a teenager, but she's also very good with shopping for clothes. Although I may be a bit biased because I'm her brother and I love her very much, I can say that my opinion was supported by several gentlemen at the club we visited, as she was getting free drinks all night and a couple of guys asked her for her phone number. Without a doubt, my sister is very well dressed and presents herself in a modern and elegant way. It's no wonder that she has at least 50,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, now notice this piece here before we do the volunteering. This is always a nice piece to include in your speaking. And today when you're volunteering, members, I would like you to practice this. Okay. This piece here. Repeat this piece after me one more time. When I asked her where she had bought such a beautiful dress, she smiled and responded, at a local second-hand shop, and then continued to explain that she had made alterations using her sewing machine. What kind of language is this? So grammatically speaking, what kind of language is this? Everybody. And this is a really nice piece to include at some point in your part 2, and definitely at least once or twice in your speaking interview. Dylan says it's reported speech. Absolutely. It's direct and indirect reported speech. Yes, it is. You're right. It's reported speech. Reported speech gets you points. Okay. When you can use reported speech correctly, you're going to pick up points. Okay. So we're going to do some volunteering, and volunteers, members, premium course members, I'd like you to focus on including at least one reported speech in your response. Okay, so that's the assignment for today's volunteers. So include at least one element of reported speech in your cue card response. Okay? Everybody got that? So to volunteer for speaking, Alexi and Chen have put the instructions into the chat. Okay? Firstly, you need to go to our website. And again, as I mentioned time and again, become a premium user. It's worth it. Okay? So this is our academic IELTS website here. You click that big red button there that's just above my head, and you become a premium user, and you've got all the materials and help that you need to really improve for your next IELTS test. It's a one-time payment, and you get lifetime access to all of these materials, to computer-based practice exams, full interactive course, original practice tests, lesson videos, audio CDs. And we're going to use this function here, the student partner speaking, where you can talk to other students for free, find speaking partners. So we go there, and you will see a list of amazing, beautiful people. We've got Aftum, we've got Nat in there, Chansu, Natty, Q, Gopu, Thu. Okay, lots of people. I'm going to put on my ears, and I'm looking for some volunteers. You will see me in here as Master. Master, all capital letters, easy to identify. Click on that, and we'll get going. Gopu is one of our premium students and one of our hardworking new members. Let's give Gopu a chance for a part 2 response. Gopu, are you ready? You said you're ready, but I got to just double check to make sure that you're connecting with me here. So just send me a yes, Gopu. Okay, good. Hi, Gopu.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing, Gopu?
Same here, same here.
All right. Gopu, so you are in India, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Whereabouts in India are you, Gopu?
As I already mentioned, I'm in Kerala.
Kerala, yes.
I live in Alappuzha district, which is the smallest district in Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of places, been beautiful places like backwaters, and there's like coastal area.
Yeah, it's a coastal area. You have the Indian Ocean there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's very popular for diving. All right, Gopu, let's do this. So I'm going to start you off for this cue card. Give me a nice response. Include that bit of reported speech somewhere, okay?
All right.
Okay, so Gopu, here we go. So that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about a person you know who dresses well. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Well, there are lots of people I know that are very fashionable and very good at wearing clothes. So, however, today I would like to talk about a person um, I met in a journey. His name is Suresh Kumar. He's at an age of 70. And talking more about him, he's uh, a thin and uh, with a height of um, 5'8", I think. So most of the time he like to wear normal and casual dress. So from the day first, I was really intrigued about the way he carry himself, the way the mannerism, especially the dressing sense. So luckily, we both had connected very easily, because I personally believe that it is due to the congenial mind we both had. So we had a long conversation most of the time about regarding different aspects. So from the day again, we shared the same room. So it doesn't trigger him to make up and to dress up to for the day. So but I was really I mean flabbergasted by his way of fashion and dressing sense, especially.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there and we will now continue with part 3. Please put the note paper to the side, turn it over, and I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to the topic. All right, Gopu. First of all, A for effort. Okay, so I can tell that you're really thinking, you're trying hard. So it was really good effort. Gopu, your band score for that would be about a 5. Okay, maybe even less. The reason I give you a 5 is because you're fluent, but the reason I want to give you a 4 is because it didn't make too much sense, especially for this cue card, okay? So a couple of important points, Gopu, and you really want to practice these. So first of all, you have to reinvent the way you do part 2. Okay, so I'm really happy, Gopu, that you found me, that you found our website, that you found our materials, because we can now change your thinking to a much better kind of thinking. But to do that, you have to unlearn, or you have to forget a lot of what you learned before in other places.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
because you see what happens, so I'll show you what happened here, and it's unfortunately it's a situation I see too often. So you started by saying there are lots of people I know that are very fashionable, and as I mentioned to you, you just can't, you don't want to do that. It's too typical. The first 30 seconds, okay, so 2 minutes is enough time, but it's not enough time to talk about unrelated ideas. So 1 to 2 minutes is only enough time to talk about specific points that are connected to the topic, especially when you want to get like a band 6.5, 7, 8, 9, and so on, okay? So when you say there are lots of people I know that are fashionable, however, today I want to talk about this guy that I met on a trip, you used your first 30 seconds to just get to the answer. That's way too much time. Like you're using 25 or 35% of your speaking to just answer the first question in a roundabout way. Okay, so you can't do that. So you have to completely forget this style of responding. Okay, so first of all, I want you to just repeat me. I met a very fashionable person on a trip to Goa. His name is Kumar.
Okay.
Try
it. A very fashionable person in a Goa trip, who his name is Kumar.
Okay, so much more direct. Okay, so now I know, okay, you're talking about Kumar, this fashionable guy that you met on a trip to Goa. And if I think Goa, you know, it's kind of like a party island where a lot of people, especially from India, go to have fun and hang out. There's a lot of places where people get really fashionable there, right? So right away, I've got a picture in my head that's just much more direct and clear, okay?
Yes.
And what happens when students do what you did, where you're not on topic in your general, is as soon as they finish this introduction, like there are lots of people that I know that are very fashionable, however, today I want to talk about, as soon as they finish that, then they go completely off topic. They're like, oh, I met him, we sat down, we had a couple of drinks, and it's like, because they started with this template, the rest of their speaking just kind of balloons off topic. It doesn't focus on the right ideas. And that's really what happened. Like you talked about a little bit about his clothing, the normal and casual dress at the beginning, but then very quickly afterwards, you just said you connected very easily. You had a long conversation, and this whole time, I'm like, how is that connected to fashion? Like, how is this related to him being? So it just ballooned off topic, and it's very typical. That happens when you have this general start. Okay, so what I want you to do, Gopu, over the next 1 or 2 days is try this cue card again. Okay, try to give, but give a very direct answer. Talk about the clothing, talk about what the clothing looks like, where this person goes shopping for clothes, why you think they're fashionable. Record your answer on your phone and then send it to me my email so I can listen to it and give you some feedback of how you're improving. Okay, so this is my email right here. You'll see it on the screen. It's adrian@aehelp.com. So try it again, be more direct, okay, and send it to me. All right?
Right. Surely, sir.
Okay. All right. So a bit of unlearning, Gopu, but we'll get there. I will help you to unlearn and relearn better. Okay.
Yes, sir. That is the main issue. I mean, to do the unlearning.
Absolutely.
Yes. I know. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You've taken the first step, Gopu. So that's fantastic. We'll talk again soon. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Bye, Gopu. All right. That was Gopu. Let's give him a thumbs up. Yeah. Unfortunately, students, that's the problem when we learn bad information, is that we have to then unlearn the bad information, right? So it's a little bit painful, but let's give Natty a chance. Natty, also one of our premium students and a regular member, and Natty's also been taking some speaking classes. So Natty, are you ready? Okay, we've got a bit of time, everybody, so it is kind of hard, Alanis, but it's not bad if you've got the right strategy. Alanis, you might be less fluent if you're direct, but at least you're on topic. You will still score better. Being fluent but going off topic doesn't get good scores. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Natty. How are you?
Good, and you? Thanks for the opportunity, Adrian.
You are welcome. I'm doing great, Natty. Thanks for asking. Okay, Natty, we practiced a bit of speaking yesterday, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I'm happy that you're back here and practicing more. I commend you for that. That's a good way to improve.
I need to improve a lot.
Yeah, practice. So here we go. Let's do this. I will start you off and then give me a response. Remember, Natty, do your best to include one of those reported speech elements. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Now we will begin part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Talk about a person you know who dresses well. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The person that I know, the person that I know is very fashionable, is my cousin Noah. She's a member of my family and we grow up together. She's 30 years old, 180 centimeters long, curly brunette hair and really slim. Most of the clothes she wears looks amazing on her. Not only she's really good at matching colors, but also she knows how to match jewelry with her outfits. Definitely she's really into colors and her style is always colorful with the same color as a base and different shades as an accessories. Every time we go out, everybody's staring at her. Sometimes girls come close to her to ask about the shop where she bought the dress or the scarf. And once I asked her where she had bought such a beautiful dress, she answered at a second-hand club where she's a member, and then she continued to explain that she received 10 outfits every 2 weeks for just 150 euros a month. Unfortunately, she had to give back the items she received the previous week in order to open the next box. And sometimes she says that she can keep the items. So she's always dressing really well because she managed to have 20 different items a month for a nice price.
Okay, I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part 3. All right, not bad, Natty. Especially once you got going. You had a little bit of a tough time getting the wheels turning at the beginning, but once the wheels of English started turning, then they kept on turning and turning and turning and turning. So that's again just a really important reminder for everybody that when you go to do your IELTS exam, make sure that you're speaking English up until you walk in to the examination room. So in a perfect world, there's somebody there with you for your IELTS speaking, or you're speaking with other candidates. And then before the interview, you have to check in 20 minutes before, but then you have 20 minutes. So once you check in, then for the 20 minutes, you can walk around and you can even go back outside. So during that 20 minutes between checking in and the interview time, you should be speaking English. Okay, Natty?
Yes. Okay.
All right. And then that way you won't get into these awkward, like, what I meant to say is, what I said is who. Then the examiner's like, what? So, of course, by the time you get to part 2, you finish part 1. So it won't be like that, but still you want to speak.
Yeah,
okay?
no, because I wrote down that you correct me before and I remember it, but then I forgot what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the who.
Correct me here. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be about a 6.5, kind of going towards a 7 response. It was not bad. You had some good ideas. I really like that idea that you came up with where she's part of this secondhand clothing club, where it's basically like she's almost renting clothes each month. That was quite an interesting twist, and it was very original. So I thought that was really clever. Yeah. So one way to improve this score quickly, Natty, is to replace some of the words with different words. So more paraphrasing. So attire, garments, right? Like she receives 150 garments each month that she can choose 50 from to keep. These are all fashionable dresses, high heel shoes, jackets, and other attire, right? So using more lexical resource to kind of make your speech a bit more colorful is a good way to improve. And I think you have that vocabulary, so you just need to put it into action. Okay. And I think we talked about this before. So that was really good. The reported speech, it was a good try. There were a couple of slight grammatical mistakes in there, not confusing, but just small mistakes. So you want to correct those little mistakes as well. But overall, it was quite good for sure. Okay. So what you want to do, as opposed to Gopu. So what I said to Gopu is he basically needs to give a different speech for part 2. What you need to do when you're practicing, Nadi, is say the same ideas just with better grammar and better language. So you want to record yourself saying this kind of a response, and then don't really say it differently. I mean, don't change the information, but just change some of the grammar and some of the vocabulary to make it sound better. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so practice doing that once or twice. It's a little bit tedious. It's a little bit, you got to do it, but it will really help, okay?
Yes, for sure, Ade. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Keep up the good work, Nadi.
Thanks, I will. I'm on it. Thank you.
Bye, Nadi.
Bye.
All right, let's give a thumbs up for Nadi. That was good. So that was a really good structure. I've never heard of such a club where you can get clothing, but it sounds like a really interesting idea. All right. Okay, let's pick somebody else here. Let's see what other members are in our group of volunteers here. Frost at the very bottom. Let's give Frost a chance. Let's see if Frost is still here with us. Frost, are you ready? Let's see if Frost is there. Frost says yes. Okay, Frost. Hi, Frost.
Hello. Hello, Adrian. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you doing?
Oh, I am doing fine. We have a long vacation here.
Okay, what vacation is it?
It's a combination of a Chinese traditional holiday and world children holiday.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's a combo holiday. Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're putting some time and effort into your studies. Good for you, Frost. I like it. All right. So, Frost, I am going to start you off here for part 2. Now, just a couple of points. One, make sure you start directly. Okay, so give me a direct answer. And try to include a piece of reported speech like Gopu and Nadi were doing, okay?
Okay.
All right, just do your best. Just do your best. We're all here to practice. All right, Frost, I will start you off in just a moment here. So let's do this. That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about a person you know who dresses well. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
When it comes to fashion, the first person passing me to my mind is my younger brother, Howard. And his height is a little bit below average, about 160 centimeters high, but he has a really standard and fit body shape. Yeah. And he's really clever and smart, and he always has a unique sense toward the fashion. Sorry, I need to think about it. Okay, so whenever he's going out, he will took about half to 1 hour to make it look good, and he will often wear a cap and a stylish t-shirt with a tight jean to show his body, and he always enjoyed the
All right, your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there. And we will now go on with part 3. Frost, first of all, you've got some really good ideas, okay? So for you, the ideas, the structure is really good, okay? I can tell that, okay, you've got your brother in mind. You know that you should talk about what he looks like a little bit. You should talk about his fashion sense. You're structuring it correctly. You're starting to create a good image in the listener's mind. So your brother is fit, they're muscular, and they wear clothes that show off his fit physique, right? So his muscles, his six-pack, and so on, right? Which is great. That's excellent. What you're having difficulty with is the fluency, finding the right words and the right grammar, right? So that will come with practice, okay? So that's fine, and that's what we're here to do. All right, let's take a look at a couple of points here. I just want to help you express these ideas a little bit better. So first of all, your first sentence was nice. I liked it. You said, when it comes to fashion, the first person that pops into my mind is my younger brother. Did you say How? His name? How?
I say Howard.
Howard.
Howard, yeah.
Okay. Brother Howard. And then you said, so that was good. That first sentence was good. He is 162 centimeters tall and has a very fit body shape. Yeah. You don't need to say yeah. It's a common kind of ending that I hear, especially a lot of people from China say when they're saying a sentence. They'll go yeah at the end. It's awkward in English. I know why it's done. It's because it's like, I think I'm saying it right. Yeah. But you don't need to include it. Okay. So just simplify. So he is 162 centimeters tall and he is very fit. He goes to the gym and works out 3-4 times each week. Try that sentence after me, okay? So he is 162 centimeters tall and he is very fit. He goes to the gym at least 3 to 4 times each week.
He's 162 centimeters tall and has a very thick body. He goes to gyms every 3 or 4 times a week.
Therefore, a lot of clothes just look really great on him.
Therefore, a lot of clothes just look really good on him.
Okay. He takes about half an hour to get ready before going to work or school.
It took about a half of hour.
One more time, just a
again
sec.
Before.
One more time, just a sec. He takes
Okay.
about half an hour to get ready before going out to work or school.
He takes a half to an hour to get ready to go to the school.
Yeah. He takes half an hour to get ready.
He takes half an hour
To get ready
to get ready to go to school
or work.
for work. Okay.
He wears tight jeans and a tight shirt to show off his great physique.
He wears tight jeans and a tight shirt to show off his well fitness.
His great physique.
His great physics.
Okay, now we need one sentence of reported speech. When I asked him for some fashion advice,
When I asked him for a fashion advice,
he told me that I should start by getting into shape and join him at the gym.
he told me that I should start to work out and
He told
into
me
gym with
that I
him.
should start by getting into shape. Okay, sorry, Chen, I kind of cut you off there. That was my bad. But anyway, you get the idea, everybody. My bad, Chen. I'll make it up to you in the next class here in a moment. I'm just running out of time as well. Okay, so everybody, that's how you want to practice, okay? And again, Chen, sorry for cutting you off. There was just somebody trying to call me, and I was trying to stop that and not cut you off. That was my bad. My apologies for that. But anyway, we'll continue with part 3 very, very soon, everybody. We're going to take about a 25-minute break right now, and then I will be back with part 3 where we will continue talking about fashion and shopping for clothes. So those will be the part 3 questions from that exam a little while ago that Chayani requested. Okay, Frost, thanks for understanding. So we'll be back in 25 minutes. We'll continue with this topic. In the meantime, everybody, check out aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Thank you, volunteers. You've done great. I know it's challenging, and I'm always pushing you to improve and give me better English, of course. That's my goal. So keep up the good work, everybody. So in 25 minutes, you'll have a chance to use your part 2 ideas for part 3, okay? In the meantime, practice with each other. That's a good idea. All right, everybody, I'm Adrian. I will be back shortly. See you soon. Bye for now.